In this class, I'm taking you through my favorite lower body stretches, and we're doing some mobility work to really aid muscle recovery after a workout and just to improve general flexibility and mobility. We'll begin lying down on our backs, hug your knees in towards your chest, and find a gentle rock from side to side. This class is going to be absolutely perfect after a leg day gym session, or to do on your rest day, or just as part of your regular yoga practice to really release tension in the lower body. Lower your feet and cross your right ankle over the left thigh, just above the knee. Flex your right foot. Check in, are you getting a nice stretch in the outer right hip? If you want to take this a bit deeper, lift your left leg towards your chest, clasping hands behind left thigh. And perhaps adding a little rock here too. And from here, begin to slide your right leg more to the left so that the right knee stacks directly over left knee. Take hold of your ankles, drawing the feet in opposite directions, and maybe taking the knees a little bit closer in towards the chest for a deeper stretch, but be mindful of your tailbone and low back rounding away from the mat. See if you can keep your tailbone grounded. This is our reclined Gomukhasana or reclined cow face pose, and this is my absolute favourite one for stretching out the glutes. So if you've been squatting, this is your friend. Alright, just gently release, take both feet down to your mat, and then we'll switch sides, so crossing left ankle over right knee, staying where you are, or lifting up the right leg to take this stretch a little bit deeper. Once again, just notice if your low back is rounding up and away from the floor. See if you can ground that tailbone down. And I really encourage you in these kinds of poses to just wriggle around a little bit just to find the position that is giving you the nicest stretch in the outer left hip. Alright, and then from here we're going to take this into the knee stacking pose, so left knee stacking directly over right. Catching hold of your ankles, maybe drawing the knees closer in towards the chest. Noticing that sensation releasing through the glutes. Maybe they're super tight. A lot of us have very, very tight glutes, so it's a great position to hold for as long as you want. Feel free to pause this video if you want to just hang out here a bit longer. And then release both legs, catch hold behind the thighs, and then just rock and roll up and down your spine a couple times. Eventually building momentum to come up to sit. From here, extend your right leg out long, left knee is bent, and we're going to internally rotate at the left hip, placing the left foot outside the left hip. Just have a look at me if that's unclear. But be careful here, this posture does not suit everyone. If this is causing any pain in your knee, come out of the pose and come into a lunge instead. So I'm just going to demo this for you. Bend into your left knee. See if you can catch the left foot for a quad stretch. So we're trying to find a stretch in the quads. If that's not working out for you, come to stand, bend into that left leg, catch the foot, standard quad stretch. But if you're okay in the original variation, option to recline onto your elbows like I'm doing here, scooting your tailbone forward. And now keep your legs where you are if you're in this half hero. Come to sit up and we'll fold forward over the extended leg. But if half hero wasn't working out for your knees, I'm showing another option here by bending the left knee out to the side, taking the left foot to the inner right thigh. Wherever you are, fold forward over that extended right leg any amount. We're aiming for a hamstring stretch in the right leg, so it's not important what the left leg is doing. And this is not a competition to see how deep you can get in your fold. Be kind to yourself and breathe. Let's lift up and then come forward into a low lunge with the right leg forward. So just take a moment to allow your hips to sink in. Hands can be at the hips, they can be on your front thigh or reaching up and overhead. Let's take a side bend, right hand to right hip, left arm is reaching up and over to the right. And then release, plant your hands down, send your right knee back into table, take your left foot forward this time. And we're going to make our way into our half hero pose on the second side. So right knee is bent this time. And once again, if this is not good for your knee, come into whichever variation you took on the other side. So what we're aiming for here is a stretch in the quads, allowing the quad muscle to release. So just playing around with whichever option is allowing you to find that quad stretch. Alright, lifting up if you've been reclined, and we'll take our forward fold, extending over the left leg. With every breath in, visualize sending oxygen to any areas of sensation in the hamstrings. And then with each exhale, visualize muscles releasing tension. Alright, slowly coming up, and we'll come into that low lunge. If you're taking your hands to hips, let's find a nice little side bend, reaching right arm up and over towards the left. And this side bend just helps increase the stretch, the feeling in the hip flexor. So this lunge is targeting hip flexors. Step that left leg on back into your table and bring your right knee behind your right wrist for pigeon pose, shuffling your left leg out long behind you. If your hips are off the ground, you can place a yoga block or a cushion under the right hip. And once again, we want to be really careful with any dodgy knees here. If this hurts your right knee, come back to the first stretch we took on our backs, like I'm just showing here. Otherwise, if your knee is okay, we're holding in our pigeon, folding forward if that feels good. Maybe you make a pillow for the forehead with your hands. Now this stretch can feel super intense, especially if you're quite tight in the hips and the glutes. So I want you to again really visualize your inhale, sending oxygen to areas of sensation. Exhale, maybe that allows you to release muscles a little bit deeper. So long, slow, deep, mindful breaths. Okay, listen carefully, time to test our mobility. Lift up your torso and keep your hands lifted as you shift your weight onto your right hip and attempt to swing your left leg forward, crossing left knee over right knee, arriving in the upright version of the knee stacking pose that we visited earlier. Again, if that's not working out for you, come onto your back. But otherwise, if you can, get the knees somewhat stacked, begin to fold forward any amount, if that's working for you. Otherwise, stay seated upright, and you can place your hands quite ladylike on your knees or take hold of the feet. And have a deep release of the glutes. This one feels so good for me. It might be torture for you. Let's take one more deep breath here. And then if you're folding, come on up. Once again, lift your hands up. And this time we're swinging the left leg back again, but this time making a right angle shape with the left shin parallel with the long edge of your mat, right shin parallel with the front edge, deer pose. Sit up tall and then twist to the right. Option to lower onto your forearms for a fold, but personally I prefer to stay upright in this one to better target the left inner thigh muscles, but you choose which option is better for you. Unwind your twist, lift your hands, turn to the left now, lifting both knees as you turn to face the back of your mat, transitioning into pigeon second side, left knee behind left wrist. Maybe you're folding forward into that pigeon. Remember your options. If that left knee is hurting, come onto your back for that ankle to knee pose that we did at the start of class. If you're feeling a lot of sensation here, just make sure that you are still breathing. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. All right, come on up, and we're gonna find that transition, swinging the right leg forward, crossing the right knee over left for our Gomukhasana pose, either sitting up tall with hands to feet or coming forward to fold, or taking it on your back instead. Lifting up and finding that transition into deer pose on the second side. So we've got our left shin forward this time and twisting to the left. Option to stay upright or folding forward. And then release, and we'll take a couple of deer switches. These can also be called 90-90 switches, our last little mobility test. And then we'll make our way into butterfly pose, taking the soles of your feet together, knees out wide, or coming into a full straddle with the legs extended. So this is your choice. What we're aiming for is a stretch in the inner thigh muscles, the groin. If you're in your straddle or butterfly, seeing if you can fold forward. And once again, just being kind to yourself, allowing your flexibility to just be where it is today. Let's release. And for this last set of stretches, I'm going to be using a yoga strap. Feel free to pause this video to grab either a strap or a belt or a rolled up towel. And then we're coming to lie down, wrapping the prop around your right foot. You don't actually need a prop. If you're quite flexy and can reach for the toes, you can just grab the toes. Coming into another hamstring stretch. From here, take your both ends of the strap or your prop into your right hand and allow your right leg to come out to the right. And we want to find a little bit of an external rotation at the right hip here. Trying not to allow your left hip to lift up away from the ground. And then taking your leg back through center and then all the way over to the left, so across the body, keeping that leg straight if you can. This is getting into our IT bands. Once again, depending on how tight your legs are, this might be super, super painful. You can just bend the knee instead, coming into a reclined twist. Okay, let go of the strap, bend your knee, come back through center, and then second side. So taking your strap around the ball of the left foot this time, extending that leg up towards the ceiling, extending your right leg out long. So just a couple breaths here. And now taking both ends of the strap into the left hand, find that slight external rotation, and then allow the left leg to come out to the left without letting that right hip come up. There will come a point where the right hip starts creeping up. Don't let that happen. And now from here, crossing the leg all the way over to the right, setting up for a twist. Oh, I don't have enough space. I'm gonna have to get creative by trying to stick my leg underneath my little screen here. Coming into our reclined twist, getting into the IT band. And remember, you can bend the knee if this is not okay. If you know, you know. All right, let's release, come out, bend both knees into chest, giving yourself a last big squeeze, little gentle rock, and then find happy baby. Just catching hold of the outside edges of the feet, your ankles, your shins, wherever's available, and finding a nice little rock from side to side. Take hold behind the thighs and rock on up to a cross-legged seat, sitting up tall. Take a deep breath through your nose as you circle your arms up, and then exhale, lower them down. If you're in the mood to keep on stretching, I'm going to recommend you click on this next video. Otherwise, thank you so much for practicing with me today. Please subscribe to my channel to support free content and let me know in the comments what other types of classes you'd like to see.